you never get a second chance to make a first impression. This is a message I seen on a website banner that didn't give me a good first impression. So that's how that quote kind of stuck in my head. It really done the opposite of what the quote was saying on that website. So this is a massive lesson for me, that they didn't give me a first impression. They were kind of preaching that, but that's why it stuck. And this has stuck with me throughout business and stayed with me, the idea of the first point of contact that we have with business owners. If we're doing business to business, this is what this video is about, business to business, we need to make a very good first impression, especially if we're selling anything. So I had a revelation in my business when I was a smart consumer. And a smart consumer is when you buy something, but you're thinking about how you can apply what that company's either doing right or doing wrong to apply into your business. And this is something I've started to do all the time when I'm buying something. I'm thinking like a producer when I'm a consumer, so that I can embed things that I see that competitors or just general products that I enjoy buying can be applied to my business if I had a good positive experience. So if you have to be a consumer, be a smart one. The revelation I had was just a simple thing such as booking a skip hire company to clear some rubbish from the back garden. So we're cleaning up the back garden and taking a lot of bushes out of the back garden. So I went through, it was back in North Berwick, I went through a list of the local East Lothian or North Berwick skip hire companies, and as I was going through as just a consumer, I was looking at the phone numbers, determining my buying decision based on how professionally they looked. And this is so important if you've got a mobile number, for example, and you're trying to come across as a professional company. If you have the mobile number in your van, on your business cards, on your Google map listing when someone's Google searching you, it doesn't look as professional, or doesn't give me as a consumer the same feeling that I would get if I seen a local number for North Berwick in this town, for example. This is Ben's Business Podcast, episode 31 I meant to mention, and we're also on Instagram Live over here as well. Thanks for everyone who's joining me just now. If you have any questions, please could you post them on the comments and I'll try and answer them at the end. I've actually got a question to answer from Kevin as well. So back to the point is, we need to make sure that we give them that good feeling as consumers when they're using our products or services. For example, a local number rather than a mobile number, or instead of if you can avoid using a national number, which you can, like a 0800 number, or even a London number, I think that's 020. You know yourself when you get a phone call in, if you're not in London and you get an 020 number calling you, you can see almost instantly that that's a national almost sales call that's coming in. And I see that around when I'm a consumer as well, when I'm Googling and looking through those services for the skip hires, for example. And I ended up coming to the conclusion of paying a wee bit more because the company came across more professional rather than someone that was in their van answering their phone. They didn't have great signal at the time, and there was people talking in the background. They're obviously on the move in their van, and it was a mobile number I got through to, and I just got a bad feeling with it. And I was like, I don't want to cut costs for like unprofessional service. I want to get this problem solved as smoothly as possible with a professional company. So I'm willing to pay 50, even £100 more for just getting my solution. And that's the important point there, is that we need to make sure we look like a person that we can trust in all appearance that we give out on the internet and in person when people are making that first point of contact with us. And this was just kind of a revelation in my mind on how I thought of it from a consumer point of view, and I've started to really apply that into my own business. So take pride in your appearance in all ways, whether again that's in person or through your website, on your vans, your phone numbers. There was a great story that Tracy taught me. I was listening to his book, The Psychology of Selling, and he actually showed an example of how he was at a seminar, someone came up to ask him, he's got a great product, he's got a great service, and Brian Tracy could tell almost instantly the guy's problem. Even if he had a great product or service, he was serving to business owners, and he actually had long shaggy hair right down here, and instantly that's actually what Brian Tracy thought was the problem. And he suggested to this guy, which was quite an unusual response, was to your problem could possibly be getting your hair cut. If you get your hair cut, this will actually help you get more sales. And the guy says, well, people shouldn't judge me based on how I look. My long hair expresses my personality, or whatever he said in that moment. But in a business decision, business to business people make decisions based on appearance first. Even though they shouldn't, they do. And that's a fact. So make sure that your appearance and the vehicle you step out of, the clothes you're wearing, your haircut, you're shaved, your whatever, whatever it is, you smell nice, and all these things do count. Whether they should or they shouldn't, they do. So take pride in the way that you look, the way you appear, the way you sound, and as I heard down at a conference in London, be the expert that looks like the expert. And Harrods is a great example of this. The speaker taught me that if you go into Harrods in London, they're all experts in what they're selling there, but they also dress. And if you go into Harrods, you can just see the building itself it shows that expertise throughout it. So tradespeople are a similar example of this. We look at vans, for example, there was actually a survey done. I was reading online earlier today about this, just to give you an example. There was about 2,000 consumers asked a question about what makes them buy or not buy from tradesmen, and if like the van appearance makes any difference. And it actually turned out that it does make a big difference, and there was a large percentage wouldn't go ahead with a tradesman based on how their appearance was, their van mainly. And if they had a new van, they would look more like, and this is quoted from this article I read about a real survey, people think of someone as more organised and trustworthy if they have a new van with like a nice logo and a national number on it. So that's a very important point for any tradesmen out there that maybe have an older van that they could do with a makeover. It's quite a risk to be going about in a van that's in need of a good makeover. So we should make sure we're looking after that part as well. Again, emails like Gmail, Hotmail, try and use your company name. So for example, I've got info or Ben at Online Marketing Consultant, or I always make sure that I use a brand in the email address rather than at Gmail or at Hotmail. Don't use your mobile on your business cards, your van, or your other signage. Make sure you use a local number to that area where that sign is or where that van's going to be. If it's in Edinburgh, it's an 0131 number. And that's really important. The clothes that you're wearing, having your car washed often, having that clean, sharp look in business. When you're dealing with business owners, this is mainly. But we should do it when we're business to consumer as well. There's a good example I have, which I can only tell you briefly just now because I've got maybe a question to answer at the end of this. It was about a case study, let's say, a client that I've actually worked with, and I went into their business and I had a look at how they were taking phone calls and then what they look like now. And I've actually embedded a call centre into the front end of their calls. So when someone comes, that first point of contact is a call centre that answers it. So even if he's out and about in the van with no signal, he will have that all documented and recorded. So it makes a massive difference with the professionalism of when a customer calls and the call might not get answered, versus if a customer calls a professional woman who's been trained at a call centre, actually answers, takes all the information, she tries to transfer it through to my client. If he's not available, he will get a text message, an email. I'll also get a message, and it's good for marketing. The call's also recorded, and that's so important, so valuable to me and my client and my accounts manager, who helps me with all that, to make sure that I follow up on the leads, to make sure that everyone's taken care of, the customer is looked after, and then we might even do a survey with them at the end. So it helps with everything in that term. And on top of that, I actually spoke to my client to just get some questions about what the benefits that he's seen for himself, for his own business running it. And one of them was that he doesn't look like someone running about in a van. He looks like he takes pride in his appearance and his professionalism of how he runs his business and customer service. So there's a 24/7 person answering a phone call with a local accent, friendly, and they're trained to actually take those types of calls and get all the information out. So it's really important, because if we don't get that information, or we miss a call, we don't check our voicemail, you lose that in most businesses. You need to be answering these questions for people as quickly as possible. He says that they collect in-depth information, which is very important as well, so that he can call back and know what he's talking about. He knows what that first call was about, and it's really helpful to get that. That's only if he misses the call, which was happening quite a lot because of signal being out and about in the van. It shows you've gone that extra mile with your professionalism of your company and your service. It's a peace of mind, again, that if he's out and about or with another client, then the calls are taken. So I think that's such an important part, and this is actually part of the lead generation service I've been offering. I'm actually doing it with a bunch of clients just now. Instead of doing search engine optimization as a monthly service, recurring service, we actually work with them and build leads for their business in their industry, and basically sell the leads in a way. But we work as sort of partners rather than they're my client and they get everything going through them. Everything kind of comes through me, so I can check the market and improve things and generate more leads. So I've been working with people more in a sort of partnership process to make sure that everything's documented, all the calls, all the emails we all get, and that seems to work really well together. And we're all in communication through the call centre, the first point of contact, and right to the end, and make sure that that call has been dealt with. So that's a lead generation business model I've kind of set up with a call centre. I recommend getting, if it's something you're interested in, I can help you set that up. I recommend a call centre just for the fact that you have that peace of mind that the phone calls will be answered and you'll get a text message with a lead. Just that alone really does help in terms of getting the customer the answer in a speedy way and get to the solution, because they can transfer it through to the customer and get to the end of that problem they have, whether that's through the service after making the sale, right to the solution that they're looking for. Ideally they have some knowledge and some access to information which we can provide to the call centre to give them a script so that they can answer all the questions that probably pop up. And because it's recorded, I can listen in, or my client or my partner can listen in and say, yeah, they shouldn't have said that. Please give them this information, so when the people ask this again, if this is a thing that's repeating, then they can give them that information back. So that part of having a call centre in place when you're starting to scale up your business is so important. There's a large part about that in the automation side of the 4-Hour Workweek book, which is a great book for kind of scaling and automating your business. They are local, the call centre that I use, so that's a nice friendly local voice that they have for that service. And it's the idea that if a call comes in, you're not there, the customer answers, or your call centre answers, that person that's called in hasn't called and been disappointed that nothing's been done about it. So that really helps. Their call has been done. Something's been done about it, someone's going to get back in touch, whether they couldn't get transferred in that first moment, or that there's an in-depth message being passed on to the operations manager or whoever the message is going to. So that puts the consumer, the person who's calling, at peace of mind as well. And back to the skip hire example, when I called through and I got a sort of ringtone when it was calling through as I was waiting to get through, it looked like a more professional business with a good operations and then it was to press 1 for customer service, or 2 if you're already a client, and then 3 for sales or whatever. So I clicked on 3 and I got through to someone who answered nice and professionally. So that made a difference to me on my buying decision. So I hope this video was helpful to you, and we are in control of the first impression, the first point of contact. So just make sure that you make the right first point of contact with those who are trying to get in touch with you. If anyone's got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. There was a question that came in from Kevin, and that was a question about how to use various platforms to engage, as in like Twitter, Instagram, and how to use them effectively. This is probably a video for another day, Kevin. If you're not watching live, I'll make sure that I get round to doing that on another podcast, Ben's Business Podcast. Thanks for everyone watching. Is there any questions over on Instagram? There's not any questions over here, so I'm just going to switch off. Thanks for watching.